I'm trying to do something. Could you not? Could you just not be in my face right now, dog? Thank you. E3 has ended. There's been a lot of information coming out of this year's expo, but undoubtedly the biggest information is all about the new consoles coming from Sony and Microsoft. Both of them reveal a good amount of information about their consoles for this next generation, and the results were surprising. Of more exclusives and new IPs, the Xbox One is screwing up in a lot of very important ways. DRM is always ish online, and near constant foot and mouth quotes from Microsoft would be enough to damage the image of the console. But that's not all they have to deal with. Sony is capitalizing on the backlash by pretty much marketing their console as, hey, it's $100 cheaper, and all that stuff that Microsoft's new console is doing that you hate, we don't do it. The thing is, Microsoft really should be kind of concerned about what they're doing. There's only one policy that a lot of people are mad about that I'm not really so much against, and that's used games. The thing is, used games hurt developers. They don't see any money from it, so when you're buying a pre-owned game, you're really not saving that much money in the long haul anyway, and the developer's not seeing any of that money. So it's a lot better to just buy a new game, and I also play a lot of games on PC, so I'm used to it anyway, so whatever. Used games, don't care, not a big deal. Stop buying used games, you're hurting developers. So then we have the issue of always online, which has pretty much been the Satan of the internet for a little while now. It's only once per day on the Xbox One, but there are a few situations where your internet could be down for a day and you still might theoretically be able to play a game. So let's say a storm damages some communication lines. Happens to me out here in the Midwest. It's happened before, but the power's still up, so I could still play a game. Not with the Xbox One. You move into a new house. You know how long cable companies take to get there, and you don't have internet, can't surf around online. I'll play a video game. Nope. Nope. Or let's see, what else could it be? How about just literally anything that would take your internet out but wouldn't normally stop you from playing a game? Does anyone else see a problem? Because I feel like there's a problem. I guess I just assume publishers would learn by now, after all of the fiascos with SimCity and Diablo 3, nobody likes DRM, and always online DRM, people hate even more. And I think Xbox One mitigates the issue of always online because it doesn't have to check the servers constantly, so that should make it theoretically harder to crash the servers. But I cannot understand why Microsoft would sit in a boardroom meeting, just all of the big heads at Microsoft, and say to themselves, you know, EA and Blizzard shit the bed pretty hard, but that DRM is just a good idea, right? Right? Let's do that. Let's build that into our next console. Everyone will love it. But when it comes right down to it, I really think that the reason Microsoft decided to do this, or thought it was at least okay and it wouldn't hurt them so much to do this, was because of how successful the Xbox 360 was. In the same way that Sony thought that a $600 price tag wouldn't immediately turn off most consumers, Xbox thought that the mere idea that this is the same company that put out the Xbox 360, so the next one you're going to want. They made a mistake. They thought that pretty much consumers would just take what they were given and not complain about it. Oh, this is the next Xbox, this is what you want to do, Microsoft? Yeah, we're totally on board. You're A+, Microsoft. Good job. Good job. No. Nope. No, because consumers aren't stupid, for the most part. They're going to tell you if you're doing something wrong, and people are going to speak with their wallets on this, and they already are. The Sony PlayStation 4 is outpacing the Xbox One in pre-orders by 3 PlayStation 4s for every 2 Xbox Ones. But one important thing to take away from that is that the Xbox One is by no means dead. Microsoft still has a great deal of momentum because of the wild success of the Xbox 360 and because they have had exclusives that are fan favorites. Halo, Forza, Gears of War. They also have Sunset Overdrive coming out on the next console. They have Titanfall. These are titles that people are excited about. And at launch, you're going to be able to play Rise, Son of Rome, which people are stoked for, and I even think looks really cool. But Microsoft has a lot of ground to make up. They've damaged their image in the eyes of a lot of the consumers who were really paying attention to E3 because they just tried to put too many restrictions on what you're able to do with your console. And while I understand that consumers have this idea of consumer ownership when they own a game because you're owning it, you have a copy of it in your hand, I understand that that's not actually the case. It's software, you license it. That's fine, I get it. But the more restrictions you put on consumers, and the more apparent you make it to consumers that they do not own this product in theory, the less willing they're going to be to buy your product. And that's why Sony won E3. You can't really win E3. It's not so much a contest, but that's irrelevant. You have to understand that Sony went into this seeing what Microsoft did, and they came out of the park swinging. They undercut Microsoft by $100. Not only that, they said everything you hate about Microsoft, we're not going to do, because we're here for gamers. We're not a TV box that also plays games with a bunch of restrictions. And while that's not necessarily true of Microsoft, that's what a lot of people feel like. And that's why they have a lot of ground to make up now. Sony's in a very good position coming into this next console generation, and there's a good chance that they might manage to snag the top spot away from Microsoft. How Microsoft does with the next Xbox is going to be very important to gaming moving forward. Console generations, Wolf, get out of the shot. DRM in upcoming console generations is determinant on whether or not the Xbox One does well. If Microsoft is forced to change its DRM policies to make people more willing to purchase the console, then you will not see these policies return. However, if a fair amount of people still buy an Xbox One and tell Microsoft that they're okay with these DRM policies, then they're going to be here to stay. And that's just the way it's going to be. And again, while used games are harmful to the industry, I don't think that more restrictions on the consumer are necessarily the answer. So as a consumer, if you don't like these policies, don't buy an Xbox One at launch. If you're alright with these policies and you just want the games and you're not worried about it and you buy all your games new anyway and you don't generally lend your games out to people, then by all means buy an Xbox One, because the truth of the matter is, for a large number of people, these policies don't really matter, because most people are usually going to be online most of the time. Most people who are avid gamers are going to be buying mostly new games, but not all of them. And the fact that Microsoft is basically saying there's a large swath of our audience that we don't care about doesn't sit well with me. That's pretty much all I had to say. I'm trying to decide how you end this. Rate, comment, subscribe? Is that what you say? Like, comment, subscribe? I'm really not sure how to end this, so I'm just going to comment, like, subscribe later. My dog is frightened by my internet talk. She demands attention. She demands that I make her not afraid of my internet talk, I guess. I don't know. You're not right, Bailey. You afraid of my internet talk? Is you afraid of my internet talk? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, because I'm talking loud. I'm talking loud and there's no one here. It's fucking weird, isn't it, dog?